Hello again. Welcome to the Leslie Davis Earth Protector Show. We've got a terrific show now that the new year started and lots of different things to cover. And with me again is my reliable, dependable friend, Kelvin Burns.
How you doing?
Okay. And we shake hands all the time because we want you to know that we're friends and that we work together. And when we take over the executive branch of the state of Minnesota, with me as governor, Kelvin's going to be there by my side, working with me. How you doing, Kelvin? How things going?
Doing okay.
Yeah? Out in the world about?
Right. I'll be 50 years old tomorrow, 27.
Okay. Well, people not going to see this till next week.
Right.
So you'll know that last week, Kelvin was 50 years old.
Right.
Now, can you imagine that you're 50 years old? That's kind of pretty hard to believe, huh?
Right.
50 years old.
Oh, yeah.
You told me a story about the insurance, your dad's insurance up in Michigan. Kelvin from Michigan, I want to remind you, Kelvin from Michigan. He's been down here in Minnesota, found a new home, made this a home. Why'd you come down from Michigan? Came down with some guys from Michigan?
Well, I came down from Detroit a couple of years ago. Actually, more than a couple of years, 17 years ago.
Okay.
And I decided to stay, and I've been here ever since.
Okay, well, I'm glad we ran into each other and that you're here. But
Right.
you mentioned something about your father's insurance, something about a couple of $100 a month?
Well, he's paying $200 a month for insurance for an old car. And I told him I don't pay that much for a new car.
Why is it so expensive up there?
I don't know if they blackball Michigan, but the insurance is very high in the urban community.
Uh-huh.
Very high.
So what's he going to have to do? Get rid of the car? He's just going to have to pay it if he wants to have a car. But there are different insurance. Or maybe he's got to shop around for a cheaper insurance company.
Well, I've been shopping around for him.
Okay, just shopping around.
Right.
So, but can you get insurance in Minnesota? Well, I guess you could get insurance any place that would apply for it.
Right. But you said the insurance is very, it's a lot of people in the Detroit, Michigan area driving around without insurance because the insurance is too high.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know, this is the first show we've done for this new year, and we've got a new president of the United States that some people don't like, but Kelvin and I like him. Huh? We like Donald Trump. We don't think he's a problem. He's a billionaire businessman. He's got a big, beautiful family. He's kind of like a professional football player. 3 wives and 5 kids with three.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't think that Hillary would do any better job than Donald Trump.
We don't want to talk about her too much, but what do you think about this thing Donald says? Going to keep the people from these Muslim countries that are problematic for 4 months. They're going to do a test period, do something for 4 months. I'm not crazy about this wall in Mexico.
Well, like I was saying before, Mexicans are really not foreigners.
Mexicans are not foreigners?
They're not foreigners.
Yeah.
New Mexico, Texas, Utah, Phoenix, Los Angeles, the city of angels, belong to the Mexicans. They line got
Well,
me
it
bad.
did, but we beat them up or something that took it away.
Right, but I'm saying it's Trump being unfair. Mexicans
Yeah.
are not foreigners.
We should be a little more respectful to
Towards the
Maybe he is, you know. He's just talking about, I think, the ones that are the criminals or the violent ones, the drug pushers and stuff like that.
But see, that's he's still being a little hard because, like I was saying, who's been more violent than white people?
Uh-huh.
So to call these people rapists, murderers, and criminals, the white people that came out of England was rapists, murderers, and criminals. That's why they were kicked out of England and they came over here.
Yeah, okay.
So he's not being really fair because everybody from Mexico is not a drug dealer.
Uh-huh.
You know.
All right, so maybe we need to send him a letter or something, you know, tell him I sent him a letter. So, some letters I've been sending out.
Right. He's been a little unfair calling everybody a rapist, murderer, and criminal.
Okay.
out of Mexico. That's a little unfair. In fact, it's a lot unfair.
Okay, but how do you think he's going to do in China? You think he's going to do a good job? Create jobs and get business going and
He might create jobs. I really can't speak on Trump. He's full of surprises. You don't know. You never know what bag he's coming out of. So I really can't say.
I happen to think that he's got the right idea in talking to these industrial people and telling them to create the jobs here and grow America first.
Well, Ford Motor Company was getting ready to put a company in Mexico, but they're not going to put it in Mexico. They're going to bring it to Detroit. And he asked GM,
You think that was Trump's doing that got that Ford to do that?
well, maybe. I think it's a good idea they're bringing the jobs back to the states because we're in need of some type of work.
Yeah. Well, people complaining about him bitterly, marching in the streets. Never seen anything like this. There were marches in the streets for other people, other presidents and all, but not quite like this. And people are concerned about his environmental position. And me being an environmental activist, the solution to some of these problems like coal and oil is the fact that we don't have the new technologies implemented. The battery-operated, solar-charged electric cars,
Okay.
rather than these other stinky little cars. And the same applies for energy conservation, renewable energy. So I don't know. I've sent off my information to the Trump campaign. You know, they get so much mail. You don't know what gets read and what doesn't.
Exactly.
And today, if you send a letter to the White House, they don't open a mailbox at the White House. It goes to a place, I understand, in Maryland, where they screen all the mail, because they had that problem a couple of years ago with somebody sending some poison in an envelope. So they don't allow the mail to come to the White House. It's got to go to a screening place first. But we got our show going. We hear what's going on with the guys in Michigan. I know I promised a couple of shirts, but I know you're going to Michigan. You said, I'm going to get at least 2 shirts for 2 of the guys. I'll go through.
To the Melanic brothers, they wanted Earth Protector shirts.
Okay, so I'm going to, out of my inventory, I'm going to dig out 2 shirts. But like I mentioned before, I have a lot of things that I do, and I need to get focused. And I'm coming off the last 2 years of my Macy's accident, my Hennepin County victimization, and then in September, I crashed my bicycle at De La Salle High School.
Okay.
So I'm hurt and just about fully recovered.
Okay.
So I'm operating at this level with Earth Protector, with my politics, and I got to pick a couple of them and elevate them, get them up a little bit.
Okay.
So, but I'll do that and get at least 2 shirts for you to take with you when you go to Michigan. But you think you're going to go this weekend or next week or something?
Maybe next
like that?
weekend I have some important business to talk with the Melanic brothers about getting them together and trying to make it things better. And in fact, we're talking about opening up a temple here in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
You think we need a temple or something? We
Well,
don't,
to get these brothers together because they don't have any real programs here for blacks. The programs here are watered down.
Can't we join with something? Can't they join? Explain to the crowd. Let me move this thing over. Explain to them what the MELANICS are. What are MELANICS?
The word melanic, first of all, means people with melanin. Our religion is designed to give all people of an African descent a religious foundation on which they may join political, economical, social concerns with the spiritual forces necessary to rid our people of the vices which tends to stunt the growth and development of a melanic nation of an independent origin. That's what our religion is designed to do.
Religion, you call it religion.
Religion, culture,
Well, the
same thing.
culture is a little different. Okay, but if you want to call it religion, because one thing we don't need is more religion. We got enough religions. We got the Jews, we got the Catholics, we got the Protestants, we got the Muslims, we got all of that. But it sounds like they have some good ideas and they got a good heart.
Well, see, the thing is, a lot of our black leaders have sold us out. They living good, the shepherd living good, but the sheep not living good. And they've sold us out.
Trump, in his inauguration speech, said the same thing about the people in Washington, D.C., that they're living good and they're doing well, and the people aren't doing quite as well. And it took guts for the guy to get up there and say that. And they were all sitting there. Obama with his wife and George Bush and Jimmy Carter, and he just taking them all down, saying, you guys haven't done the job. So I'm coming in, and I'm the guy that's going to do it. I'm going to clean house.
Well, everything that President Obama come up with, they would knock it down.
Yeah.
And they was very disrespectful towards
Very disrespectful.
Towards President Obama.
That was terrible.
President Obama inherited somebody else's mess, and they did him really did him unfair. They didn't respect him as a president like they should have.
I saw one time when he went from the White House up to the state capitol,
right?
And he was going to go talk to them,
right?
And they treated him so poorly, and I'll tell you, they treated him that way because he was a black man. Well, I think he was a young black man, and they just humiliated him.
But what a lot of white people don't understand, and I explain this all the time to black and white people. We have racism, we know that. But you have a thing that's called classism. If rich white people don't want to be bothered with poor white people, rich black people don't want to be bothered with poor black people. So it's a thing about the have and have-nots. Racism exists, but don't ever forget about classism. And a lot of white Americans think because they white, they privileged. They don't give a damn about you if you poor, just like they don't give a damn about a poor black person.
Yeah.
So it's about rich and poor.
But I think they should care about it. They're not going to equal up. There's always going to be poor people, or some people with more and other people
right, but
with
a lot
less.
of white people be conditioned in a way they feel like the rich white people care about them because they white. They don't. You poor, they don't be bothered with you, just like a rich black man, a lot of them don't want to be bothered with me. It's about the have and have-nots, and it's always been like that.
And always will be.
Right. But the thing is, things could get a little bit better in the black community if we didn't have these sellout-ass black politicians. We got too many coons representing us. You had a guy by the name of Keith Ellison. He denounced Minister Louis Farrakhan so he could get a better position.
But he was a buddy of Louis Farrakhan.
Yes, he was. And then he denounced him. And I'm saying we have too many coons representing us. Reverend Jesse Jackson, a coon.
Real, Jesse.
He's a coon.
How about a guy like Al Sharpton?
Goddamn coon. We need to get rid of all them. We need upright men, step up or get the fuck on.
Okay.
If somebody give them a little bit of money, they just sell us out.
All right. Well, this is the Leslie Davis Earth Protector Show where you get the full load, You're not going to get any brown washing, black or purple washing with Kelvin Burns. Kelvin's here to help us learn our way along. He's grown up.
And I don't sugarcoat because we wasting time.
Yeah.
And time is ticking every second.
Yeah.
And I was telling white people, I don't hate white people, but it's time to separate the black children to get them right. They're not right. We got to get them right for us education, for us schooling, for us hospitals, building our own. Building your own nation.
Let me raise a subject that might be a little different. I kind of watched the show and I started practicing meditation.
Right.
You ever try that?
I've tried meditation, but my people in need of more than meditation. They need a brain surgeon. And the Minister Louis Farrakhan is that brain surgeon. I'm that brain surgeon. And a lot of other brothers that's practicing what we practice, they're that brain surgeon.
Okay, but if you do 10 minutes of meditation a day, that doesn't take you away from Mr. Farrakhan or from any other dude. I'm just curious. I started to do it, and it's an interesting thing. You don't have the internet. You on the internet?
I'm on the internet.
You have access to the internet?
Access to the internet.
So I watch guided meditations, and I did a couple of them. It's pretty nice, and it relaxes me and calms me down, and it's really important with a busy world and running and all of this. Like even when I saw you show up at the studio,
Right.
you were kind of booking it, getting over, and I know I did a little bit also. But what we need to do, I think, is work on getting Leslie Davis elected governor of the state of Minnesota. And if I were the governor, we wouldn't have high fructose corn syrup soda being sold to children in schools and fluoride in the water and misbehavior like we do, only because we'd set a good example. Kelvin and I are here. We're adults. We've been around. We've got a lot of experience for one purpose, and that's to do good for society, to help to get the governor's office. And, we're not going to have the power to do what we want. You've got the judiciary, the courts. If you're doing something wrong as a governor or whatever, the courts can step in.
Right.
The House and the Senate represent. I went over and saw the House guy this morning, Transportation Committee Chairman, to explain the money plan to him. They didn't jump on it. They're not crazy about and I told him, I said, I'm an adult and you are. Would I come here if it wasn't a good idea? Would I run for governor if I didn't think that I could do the job and do a good job for the people? I'm not interested in the paycheck. It'd be nice. I think the governor gets about 110 or 130,000 a year. Not bad.
Well, I was looking at a program yesterday. They was talking about how many people they brought in from East Africa and how many people they were bringing in from Arabia. And my question is, how can you bring in all these other people and your American citizens is not being taken care of? Black, white, Native Americans living under bridges, dying out in the cold. So why would you bring in somebody else and you're not taking care of the American citizens?
You're seeing that yourself.
I see this myself. So my thing is, my people fought wars, picked cotton, built this country, and they can't get nothing. But then you bring in these people that haven't built a damn thing, haven't fought for the United States Army, and they're giving them everything, a place to live, 5-year tax breaks, all that kind of bull crap. And I'm saying is, my debt's been paid. There's a lot of black blood been shed in this country, at this company. But to bring in all these other people and give them everything is absolutely wrong.
Trump said, I think today or yesterday, that he was going to put a moratorium of sorts, like 4 months, of not allowing anybody in from a group of certain countries, like Somalia and Syria and Libya and all of that kind of stuff. We mentioned Libya, and we spoke about Gaddafi earlier. Well,
Muammar Gaddafi wasn't a rotten person. I know people from Libya, lived in Libya, and I was told that when you get married, he'd give them